Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 8 of Correspondent Week. And now, I'm delighted to be joined by our Wolves correspondent, Bradley Parker. You'd have thought 8 episodes in, I'd know how to do a bloody intro by now, wouldn't you? Bradley, how are you, mate?
Good, thank you. Apart from the football club.
I'm glad you're good and you're well. There's no bleach nearby, no?
No, no.
No,
I'm
that's
gonna
good.
order a special one.
All right, we all touch on a little bit of fantasy, but we're not going to waste people's time with 45 minutes of Wolves assets here because I don't think that's particularly necessary. I keep saying, Bradley, I'm worried about Wolves. Do I have reason to be worried?
Yeah, probably.
What's going on?
Uh, of where to start. It's just we get mixed reports like every week. Like I think we've had the Express and Star reporter saying FFP is the issue. We've had Johnny Phillips from Sky Sports report that FFP is not the issue. And then you've got reports like Wolves. I think it's not been a secret that the owners have been looking for some like outside investment,
Yeah.
and they would be open to like selling some shares. But at this point, to me, it's becoming sort of obvious that they're looking to probably sell from the way it's looking from the outside. And Chinese investment into like Western sports as well is really dying off, and that's going to make a lot of sense looking at what Wolves are behaving like at the moment. Like if you
So
look at West Brom as well, like they're in a massive mess.
they've also got Chinese owners, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Fosun family are Chinese owners, but 2016, I want to say they bought you roughly, I think. Before
Yeah.
promotion though, wasn't it?
Yeah. They had the year before promotion.
Yeah. So there was a large investment. We know there was, an influx of players went to the Chinese Super League, and it was an influx of investment from Chinese owners that went into European football, essentially. There was a lot that went into Italian football. They've kind of all withdrawn out of that. One of the last kind of standing ones is yours.
Yeah.
And their Wolves are a small asset within their large investment portfolio, essentially. So are like Wolves in financial trouble as such? No, not really. But the owners are basically, in terms of all their portfolio, trying to strip back on their assets. Have sold a lot of their portfolio already. And yeah, the suspicion is that maybe they want to sell Wolves, therefore aren't necessarily going to invest in the team at the moment. But we've also heard conflicting reports, exactly what you said. Is FFP a problem? My jaw dropped last week when I read, is it Steve Madley, who's your reporter in The Athletic?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize how much you paid for Cunha. Like literally, I had to get in the Wolves chat on our Slack and go, what? I couldn't believe it. 44 million you paid for Cunha. And I
Yeah.
don't think he's a bad player. I mean, he's quite a talented player, but it still blew me away that you spent that much on him in January when what were you, bottom of the league?
Yeah. Desperate.
So if you went and spent 44 million then, what's stopping you now? Or is it because you spent 44 million plus more on other players?
Yeah, because in that summer they spent on Nunes 40 million, Guedes about 28 million. So it started stacking up
So
very fast.
when you look at it like that, you do think all FFP might be a problem. Now look, the players have gone. Neves, you obviously got a really large sum for, but the word is that Wolves need to make a sizable profit in this transfer window, and the reports I read seem to suggest you need more money on top of the sales that already happened. So you can spend, but you need to get more people out the door as well.
Yeah, Podden's Johnny and apparently Ait Nuri. But Ait Nuri's one's complicated because it's
How
Nice
much
that
how
wants
much
him.
money would you get for them three together? Can't be a lot.
Uh, Between Johnny and Podden, you'd only probably get probably just touch about 10 million now.
Yeah.
I'd have thought.
Eight
Ait
Nori maybe a bit
Nuri in
more.
Yeah, but I don't know if we've removed his sell-on clause because he's got a 50% sell-on clause,
Oh, right.
which we can buy out. So if they want to make a profit, they probably should buy that out.
Right. So that's concerning. One of the arguments being made at the moment is obviously the squad doesn't lack for numbers, even with people like Neves leaving. There's a decent squad size there. It's just concerning about the quality. It's been a long-standing problem in terms of scoring goals, particularly since obviously Jimenez's injury. He's another departure, obviously. I mean, if you said to me a couple of years ago, Raul Jimenez will leave for Fulham for like 5 million, what's happened. He's obviously been incredibly unlucky with the injuries. So I guess this saving of wages has happened as well. But say like Alex Scott's a name from Bristol City you keep getting linked with.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you won't push through for the money that they want.
They've had 2 bids rejected. Like they want 25 million. I think we've had 18 and 20 million bids rejected. But then again, the Express and Star was reporting that apparently that if Bristol had accepted that money, Wolves wouldn't have been able to actually pay it. So it's like, well, why are Wolves bidding? They're like, who's in charge of this? Because that seems astonishing if it's true.
So you think the club's up for sale, basically? But they won't say that. That's what I read. They won't say that the club's for sale.
No, they won't say that. But if people who work in finance in football, like the murmurs are pretty much that they are.
What's happening with the manager? Is he? I mean, we're pre-recording this on Tuesday morning, so your first game's what 11 days away. Oh no, so it's 13 days away because you're at Old Trafford on the Monday, isn't it? Is Lopetegui definitely going to be in charge?
Probably for the first game by the end of August. We'll see.
Do you think he could go? Is that a case of just
probably
like, walk in?
I think he's got the potential to, because he can just find another job really quick. At the end of the day, we need him more than he needs Wolves.
Yeah, I like him, to be honest. But I think the biggest positive about your football club at the moment would be I think he's a good manager.
Yeah, if we lost him, then I'd dread to think who would come in, because I'd look at the situation from the outside. And any decent manager will go, no, thank you.
Big Sam? Don't rule it out, mate. I'm concerned that he might do similar, because he keeps saying things, doesn't he, about I need more players, but he must know the situation that he's working with. And actually, as I said, I don't think it's necessarily that you need more players. Like, there's enough players there, probably, even if you lost the 3 players that you sold. But the quality level, we've taken Jimenez out of that, we've taken Neves out of that. Nathan Collins obviously gone to Brentford, is another kind of high profile sale this year. The centre back would be one position I go, oh yeah, that's very, very light. But if he keeps saying it, and surely he's been told the money's not there at the moment, he does have the feel from the outside that he might just go, I don't need this.
From the summer, it seemed like there's a possibility he could have gone earlier in the summer. Like, it seems like they have to convince him to stay. So I don't know.
He also didn't rush into the job, right?
Yeah, that was because of his dad, though, I think.
Yeah, I get that. But even he was sitting in the stand for the Arsenal game, wasn't he? And he was like, yeah, I'll do it after the World Cup. Get out there, they need you, mate.
But they've obviously said something to him in the summer, but from the way he's going on now, they're saying like what they've said's been backed up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they've lied to him one way or the other.
Did you watch this Guillaume Balaguer interview? Which was probably the worst bit of audio quality you'll ever get from a high-profile journalist, is worth me saying. And do you know what? He didn't say anything particularly bad in that interview, but it was the fact that he did it, that he accepted that interview, and he almost like he must know what the consequence of this is going to be in terms of the Balaguer was going to sensationalize it and put a spotlight on Wolves in terms of the manager wants this, that, and the other. And again, I must repeat, Lopetegui didn't say anything particularly bad in that interview that we'd not heard before. But he's gone and done it. He agreed to that interview, didn't he?
Yeah, which I don't think the club would like it, but they can't really. I think he's probably in a position where he's like, I know they need me, like, says more than I need them. So I'm sort of stuck in an unhappy marriage, and the kids are suffering.
Quite suddenly, it's gone from, because I want to say from when Lopetegui took over, I think actually you were about 10th or 11th. From the second half of last season, I mean, it would have been
like probably a bit higher, maybe.
I mean,
a little bit.
He was bottom of the table at the World Cup, weren't you? So I think that sounds about right, sort of 10th or 11th. You had a decent number of 1-0 wins: Chelsea, Villa, Tottenham. You beat Liverpool 3-0. It's I think there was only Southampton away. I think was the only game you won where you conceded, actually. So
yeah.
Defensive solidity in those home games particularly important. But the results, you'd look at that ordinarily and go, right, so you finished mid-table since new managers come in. Okay, big improvement, no concerns. And yet, without kicking a ball, it feels like those concerns are there. Plus, I think a little bit of some of those performances at the end of the season away from home the 6-0 at Brighton, the 5-0 at Arsenal, the 2-0 at Manchester United that should have been more as well. And I know those are games you wouldn't particularly expect to get points in, but I think we've all got an association with Wolves. We go and never get battered. There was a couple there.
Yeah.
Would have gone a little bit. It feels to me, Bradley, tell me if this is an incorrect comment. It feels like you're getting into Everton mode.
Probably very close. More than anything, they seem to be suffering the same sort of. But they're spending, aren't they signing the striker now this week? And they've got FFP problems. So a bit like, well, if they can do it, why can't we?
But I think Everton are might be coming towards the end of their FFP problem. They might have gone through the worst, whereas you sound like you might be at the start of it. It might take a few years to. Everton for 3 years have been scraping around basically since Ancelotti went, or 2 years. They're probably coming towards the beginning to come out of, get their head above water, if you will. Yours is beginning to sink towards it. That's how it feels. Do you think Lopetegui will make it to September?
I'll just be hopeful and say yeah for my sanity. Because if he walks, then I dread to think what comes through the door.
And listen, he might stay. He might get on with it. You might get maybe some decent loan signings and stuff that will appease him. But
I just need probably 4 just decent first team additions in the areas that they need, and then probably be perfectly fine for the rest of the season. We're not asking for drastic.
Where's that need most?
I'd probably say a centre back in the mid-20s, probably about that age. A central striker, and probably an inside forward, and maybe a left back, depending what goes on with Nuri.
You think you're getting all that?
No, probably not.
Is Jose Sarr one that could be on the move?
No, I think I'll keep him there.
Yeah.
He's open. Apparently, he was open to be sold, but that was to Forest, and now they've signed Man U. Man U got a new goalkeeper, so I'd imagine Dean Henderson will go there.
We think so, probably, but it's not quite clear. They've obviously had links with Matt Turner this week as well. I say that because when I look at the squad and I think who's a sellable asset, he probably comes into that. Now, I think he had a dip last year. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, he was a bit erratic at sometimes.
And yet, his FPL returns were still as good as they were in the first year where he did really well. And that's why he's got that 5 million price. When it dropped, when FPL did their unveiling video and they put him up with Heung-Min Son as the Wolves, it was almost representative of where's Wolves at. Well, what should we put for Wolves? Oh, let's put the goalkeeper in at 5 million. Like if he'd come in at 4.5, you'd have gone, oh, that's a headline. We'd be very interested. And there's a case to say, I don't think it's wrong that it's 5 million actually. He's got plus 140 points in both seasons. And if he does it again, it's justifiable of that price. But he does look like one, I think, oh yeah, that's a sellable asset, maybe. Probably him and Nunes, I guess, would be the real two who you could get good money for. But you think he'll stay?
Yeah. I mean, they've had big money offered for Kilman and they said no. So
yes, and it is fair to say that. Yes, there was from Lazio, I think, wasn't it, or Napoli? Napoli. There was a big money bid for Max Kilman, which I'm not convinced that Max Kilman wanted to go actually. But yeah, that was reportedly turned down. So it's not just like you're not just accepting money for anything. If Jose Sarr went, is there any chance Bentley would play in goal?
He'd have to at the minute, but I'd rather sign another goalkeeper.
Why did he get minutes towards the end of the season?
I think Lopetegui got bored of Sarr being erratic, to be honest, in the end. I mean, Sarr played the last game against Arsenal and 3-1.
Yes.
So.
Yes, but Bentley played against United where he did pretty well. I said it obviously should have been more.
And then he was crap against Everton.
He dropped the one against Everton for the late equaliser, didn't he? And then Sarr's come back in. So if people do want to go for Sarr, shouldn't be any concern there, should there?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Okay. Doc's back. Me and you can't get away from the Doc, can we?
I can't believe it. Well, I can believe they signed him, but it's a bit.
Are you definitely going to play a back four?
I think so. Maybe some games he might switch to a back three. But Most of the time he plays back for.
So, yeah, this is what's interesting about it. So, I think, look, free transfer signing, knows the football club, can go straight in and be competitive for a starting spot, makes complete sense. But how many times you and I discussed over the last couple of years, can't really play in a back four?
Yeah.
And that's where he's going to compete to play. Do you think he starts, or is it still Nico's cousin, Nelson Semedo?
It's Semedo will start, I think, still.
So even Doc's not interesting for FPL then?
Only Semedo got injured.
Okay, so Semedo to start. Left back, you're saying Ain't Nori might go, so we're looking at Hugo Bueno as first choice now?
I think he would. He started playing Totti at left back, didn't he, towards the end of last season. But then he's going to need Totti to come on and play centre back if somebody gets down injured.
Well, Totti looks like the only cover, unless you can correct me.
Yeah. So probably Bueno, but Bueno has not been that great so far in pre-season.
Looks good talent when he first broke into the team last year, mate.
Yeah, that's the risk they've took. Like, he's still a baby. That's why they shouldn't have probably sold Giles for so cheap.
Yeah, I talk about that.
I don't get that transfer.
So he went for about 5 million.
Yeah.
And he really did well for Middlesbrough last year.
He's had 2 very good championship seasons. Normal, like, if he played for Middlesbrough and Wolves wanted him, I can guarantee Middlesbrough would ask for like 15 million.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So why have we sold him for like pot of change to another Premier League club?
Yeah, it's quite an astute signing by Luton, I think. Although it's interesting, Dan didn't think he'd necessarily start game week 1, actually. Centre back, I'm concerned. So, do you think Nathan Collins was sold purely on financial reasons?
Got to have been. I don't know why you'd invest that much money into a centre half, a young one for 1 year, and get rid of him that fast for a slight.
What happened last year? I saw him play for Burnley at Tottenham before you bought him, and he was great, mate. I know he's really progressed in terms of the Republic of Ireland, was staple for you in the team at the start of the season. What changed?
I think he probably had a lack of confidence from when we was playing crap, and Tillman's not the sort of guy next to you that's going to like keep you alert all game and scream and shout and lead you through the match. Where he might have been, if you probably paired him with Dawson for a longer period of time, he might have got his confidence back, because Dawson's made Kilman a lot better as well.
So that experience from Dawson has proved pretty vital.
Mm-hmm.
Who's captain for you now, by the way?
Looks like it's going to be Kilman, bizarrely.
Even though you're saying he's not vocal?
He's not the vocalist on the pitch now, unless unless something's changed. But
does he definitely stay?
Yeah, I think so.
I know a football club.
He's not forced his way out to Napoli, then.
No, but I know a football club that very much needs a left-footed centre-back, mate.
They'll probably sell him cheaper than for you, for some reason.
It might be one Tottenham again. Wolves are desperate. I could see that. Wolves are desperate. Leave it as long as possible. We'll get no points for the first 3 games, but we'll leave it as late as possible. I mean, it would leave a hole, though, just generally speaking, even if he stays, which I think we'd have to assume at the moment that Max Kilman will stay. But if he or Dawson get injured, you've got, as you said, basically Totti Gomez as backup. What's next in line now? Is it playing the Doc there?
Joey might shove Lamina there.
Really?
But they need to sign another centre back.
Yeah, that feels like the one. Like, I look across the names in midfield and even up front, and you can say none of them reliable, will come onto it. But there's numbers there. There's bodies. You're not short of physical footballers there. That one particularly at centre-back is concerning. And part of the reason it's concerning is what I've already said. The games you won last year, clean sheets. If you ain't keeping clean sheets, it's difficult to foresee your team winning games 3-2. You are going to win games 1-0 or 2-1 if you win them. That's how it feels. So, yeah, from the outside, I'm pretty concerned about that. That if Koeman or Dawson don't stay fit, you're in trouble defensively.
I mean, Dawson's like getting on now. You can't like rely on him to that. He could break down at any minute, or he could just dip, could just fall off a cliff.
When you bought him, what was he? 4th, 5th choice centre back at West Ham.
Yeah,
and I know he's done quite well.
Yeah, he's been great.
Who's the 4.0 defender you have, Bradley? Ben Deguzbola. Great name.
No, he's not going to play.
Who
He's
is
a right back. He's a right back.
Okay. Yeah, suddenly you lose Johnny and 8 Nori from that. You'd be
I forgot
left.
Johnny's even here.
Is he
It's just like a
done
ghost.
essentially?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's going to pick up this baton with Neves gone? I've suggested that we need to see a much better season from Matthias Nunes, who I know's got the ability. Very confident of that, but he keeps being used like right side forward and things like that.
Yeah, he
He's
does.
got to play centrally, isn't he?
Yeah, but in the pre-season, he still played like that position. He's been a bit narrower, but it's still weird.
Do you think that's with the opening fixture in mind? Pick quite a defensive lineup at Old Trafford, maybe.
Uh, maybe, but the midfield area is fine, even though they've sold Neves. That's fine. Like Lamina, Gomez, and Nunes, and Boubacar, and
Talk to me about Gomez, because I know he's quite highly rated.
yeah, he's probably more than he was like a Neves replacement before he left. I felt like he's a great, not for FPL though. He might be good in the Sky game though for any listeners who play that.
Oh, interesting. What price?
Fancy. I think it's a bit like close to Nakamba's price. I think
So it's cheap as, yeah.
he's got a lot of tackle tier in him, and maybe an odd goal. Whereas Nakamba will always move past the halfway line from when I've seen him play.
So is he likely to play regularly this season then?
Yeah, I'd have thought so. I think he's
Do
got
you
a bit of a
think?
knock at the moment though.
Oh, right,
Not played
okay.
that. He's on the bench, but he's a player.
I tell you my concern with Lamina. I really like Mario Lamina. But at yourselves, at Fulham, and at Southampton, he came into all three clubs and first 6 months, brilliant. All of them. And we're coming into that second period now. That he needs to maintain that consistency because he dropped off at the other two. I think he's a really, really good player. Can he be relied upon to carry that area of the pitch for you this year?
He's got no choice.
No, I get that. I mean, who would play? Because he obviously likes to go between the centre backs and get the ball and dictate, and he's a good ball
Yeah,
winner as
very
well.
good.
He's a good all rounder. If he's unavailable, who plays that sitting job for you?
Probably Gomez.
So you'd rely on him. He's only a
Yeah,
pup, isn't he?
yeah.
How old is he? Is he 19?
It's about 21, I think.
Oh, he's 21. Okay. Your big arse, though, not regular in this league with the movement
Mm.
of tens in half spaces and stuff like that. So we think Gomez, Lamina. I was banging the Boubacar Traore drum when the prices come out, but I keep hearing more and more from Wolves fans not going to start.
No, it could get into the team, but if he starts, he would actually be decent because he's box to box and he
Yeah.
will make runs in the box. But not at the minute. He's not really played that much in pre-season either yet. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's one, like, if he played regularly, he'd be one of the best 4.5s, actually. But yeah, the closer it's got, that seems to have faded away. The one Wolves player was interested in. Talk to me about Guedes. What is he?
what is he?
Yeah, he spent a
Just
lot of money on him. What's his best position?
inside forward, but he's not bothered, is he? So
What do you mean by that?
Stone never wanted to come here, did he? So Mendes forced him here. He couldn't be off. His body language said he couldn't be off, and then he's gone on loan. He's going on loan to Benfica again.
So he's going to go out again, yeah?
Yeah, he's had 2 knee injuries as well since we've loaned him out. So
So are you going to play with a three? So Lamina, João Gomez with one more, or are you going to play with 4 attacking players in front of that?
well, I hope at the minute it's going to be probably Lamina. Fits me, Lamina Nunes, play Cunha, then 2 wide players, and then Silva up front.
Okay,
Is the best solution.
let's move straight into that. Fabio Silva, you're quite high on, aren't you?
Yeah,
Is he going to start?
we don't know yet. We don't know if he's going to be here still as well.
So obviously came in with this. He's another one you spent unbelievable money. It was about 40 as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was like
35
19,
now.
completely unheard of. Memorable, really, for his hair and his poor finishing, let's be honest, to start with. But he went out on loan and he did quite well, right? He went to Anderlecht, did well,
Yeah,
then went to
and
PSV, did quite well. Is he ready to play for you now?
Yeah, he looked sharp against Celtic when he come on. Like instantly, we looked like we had an attack because he's linking up with Cunha, and Cunha was in his actual position, and there was sharp. He's stronger now. He's faster. He's got confidence.
So
Which is
Cunha
what we've
looks
not
at his
had up front.
best when he's carrying the ball,
When he's playing, yeah,
rather than it being fed into him and he's back to goal all the time. Actually, it's good ball carrier. Actually, that's how it looks to me. So is
yeah,
he
he's definitely.
likely to play behind? Do you think?
Yeah, just floating role. I mean, you could play him wide and come inside, but I'd prefer him to play probably just ahead of the midfield, very close to the striker. That's when he's been at his best. The very brief times he's done it last season, but the manager seems to have an obsession with starting him up front at the minute, which is hamstringing us.
But maybe he feels he's got to do that because he demanded the player and it cost a bloody lot of money. I think Silva, I think it's probably time to roll with it now and go with it and give him time to bed in. And
if he's for 5.5 million, I think I might pick him if he's the starting one.
Would you? Opening day? You picking him over? Are you picking him over João Pedro?
Not for the opening fixtures, but just for me personally, because I've got the agenda for Fabio Silva. So
no, I know you do, and our patrons will know that. You've also still got a weird thing going on for Renato Sanchez that's disappeared again this year, mate. No, I think, yeah, Silva. I think if he plays regularly, we'd have to keep an eye on that.
Now.
We'd have to keep an eye on that, but it'd be one people won't go near at the start, partly because of a Brighton game 2 as well. Yeah, just touch briefly on those fixtures. How rough does that look at the start, or does it not look rough?
It looks rough, especially the home games.
Yeah,
they are rough.
Yeah, that's the point. Because when I look at your fixtures, pretty much up till you play Burnley in game week 15, your home fixtures are Brighton, Liverpool, Manchester City, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham. And let's be honest, the core of your point is going to come from Molineux, isn't it?
Yeah.
Away from home, Everton, Luton, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Palace, Fulham. There's some winnable ones in there. I don't know. I trust you.
away records.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust you to go anywhere and win games, mate. So, yeah, I think that looks like a tough start. It's the spread of the fiction, difficult ones being at home. Of course, what's important to say about it is that flips the other way in the second half of the season. So you're another one who think if you need to win home games later in the season, there's plenty of opportunities to do that. But yeah, that run's also pretty off-putting. Talk to me about Kalidzic. There's no chance of starting them.
I wouldn't have thought so. I think he'd be on the bench at best. He's not like really been too involved that much in pre-season. Like he's having a few minutes and stuff, but he's not been starting really. So I wouldn't count on him either because his career record's full of injuries.
Yeah,
so that's why they've got to look at Fabio Silva again and say you're the man. Give him the
ACL injury on his debut, wasn't it?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
What did you pay for him?
16 million.
Okay, that's sizable enough that you probably want to use him, right?
Yeah, but then we don't really have players who cross the ball in the box. Like we've loaned him to Stoke. So
Chiquinho.
Yeah, it would have been a great 4.5 player if he stayed.
And he got rave reviews as well, Chiquinho, on his Stoke debut. Why did you let him go? Was that because he'd obviously had his own serious injury?
Yeah, then, but that makes no sense because he
feels like particularly with Traore gone as well.
Yeah, he's a Traore replacement, and the first pre-season game he played, he got an assist. I was like, oh great, he's off to a good start. Oh, they chucked him out already.
Is that a manager decision or is that a club decision, do you think?
I'm going to say club decision. Maybe something to do with finances as well.
For a youngster like that?
Yeah. Well, they got rid of Giles for nothing, so...
Yeah, well, see, it's things like that. It makes you think, is there an air of desperation almost? Because Giles could have been handy for you.
Yeah, could have been a great set-piece taker. Somebody again like Kaladzic, last few minutes, bring him on, whip the ball in the box. Cause a bit of chaos. No.
The official account tweeted last week, and I had to quote tweet it and say, "Tell me you're bored," without telling me you're bored. So they asked why Pedro Neto's ownership was so low and if he'd be a game week 1 differential. And no, this wasn't a copy and paste from 12 months ago. It was a real question. How is he? Very importantly, because he's obviously had his own serious injuries. So I don't want to jest about him too much because he's obviously very talented and been very unlucky.
He's looked okay. He scored against Porto.
I saw off his shin.
He looks okay. He probably start. He started most of them, to be fair, so far.
Does he start left or right, do you think?
Left.
Left. So it would be most likely to start on the right.
Probably the way he's played Nunes at the minute, or Sarabia. But he's played Sarabia just like behind Cunha.
Nunes has got to play in his team somewhere, although, like you said, it could be Cunha up top and then move something else into that 10 area, if you will.
Sarabia, yeah. He's played Sarabia a lot there. Sarabia's looked okay, actually.
Yeah.
He's looked a lot sharper.
Do you like him?
Yeah, I like him. It just looked a bit like sometimes last season he was a bit slower. But maybe he's adapted now because he's a good player. You can see it. He's got the eye to find that final pass.
Yeah, super experienced. How many Spain caps he got? Loads, right?
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, the one we haven't mentioned is Hwang. Potential start. I mean, he can fill a job up front as well, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't start him. He's okay squad player now. The manager's improved him a little bit.
What's his best position?
Probably
he hasn't got one.
No, not really. You know what he's good at when you're playing a really like difficult team on the wing to put their fullback back. Somebody like if he's against Andy Robertson or something like that, he'd do a good job there.
Does that almost count against him, the fact he can play multiple roles? He almost doesn't have a defined, you're a 9. He doesn't have that defined.
Nah, probably helps him, to be honest, because he's not like perfect at anything else.
Helps him gets minutes, but it means he can cover a lot of jobs, right? So
yeah,
I think he's one worth keeping an eye on as the season develops, because in theory he can play through the middle up front, and obviously he has been classified as a midfielder at 5.5. All these players we've covered off, Bradley, the attacking ones, other than Silva, and I think you'd want clarity he's going to start, and it's probably still a watch and wait. Can you make a case to start any of those players in FPL?
No.
What about the defensive ones?
Probably just Dawson.
Would you though? Versus plenty of 4.5 choices at other teams?
No, but if you pick your one, it's only Dawson. Just for the goal threat.
No temptation on the keeper then, no?
No, Ramsdale and Onana 5 million.
Ramsdale might not be Arsenal's goalkeeper for much longer.
Sure. David Raya's 5 million still. Though.
David Raya is quite right. Actually, yeah. Why hadn't I thought of that? Actually, I was thinking the other day without rule Ramsdale out, and actually never once occurred to me. Actually, maybe David Raya would be an option as well. Of course, he would be. No, I agree. Unfortunately, I don't say you'd pick Sarr over one of those two, or Onana's obviously growing in popularity quite quickly. No, I can't see it.
Don't bother.
The only Wolves player I could have seen me starting with is if you'd said to me, yeah, Traore will start, Tim Boubacar Traore. 4.5 midfield, okay, yeah, it'll probably do the job. But I think even then, there's a few young 4.5 kind of attacking midfielders who are emerging who might get minutes. I don't see that, and can never shake the feeling, Brad, that just where are you going to score the goals? Did you have the lowest XG in the league last year? I think you did, didn't you?
Probably lowest anything to do with goals.
It's felt for a while as well, I think, that because even under the really good year when you finished 7th under Nuno, you weren't like Jimenez and Jota were picking up a lot of the baton and Doherty would chip in, but it was almost nothing else would contribute from midfield. You never to get a worldie once every 3 months or so. Nothing else really contributed at all. So once Jota went, and then obviously Jimenez had the poor injury, ever since then, it's just felt like a constant rolling. Are Wolves going to score goals? Wolves going to score goals? No. And it's felt for a while. I think that eventually it'll catch up. Now until Lopetegui came in last year, that was obviously happening. And to be fair, he's fixed it. And I can't help shaking that your best chance of doing well this year is because of him.
Yeah, it is.
But also, if he keeps whinging, it's not good for the players that are there. I think, if your manager keeps saying, "Oh, we need new players," you got guys like Silva coming back and going, "Put me in the team, mate." It's probably not going to do anyone's confidence any good.
No, but like I think after the Celtic match, he said like he's worried about the players he's got like for competing in the Premier League, which I thought was a bit weird.
What's it going to do for your
I think like the
confidence?
first, like if he slapped out like a first 11 of what we got with like Silver and that up front, it's still better than a few teams in this league. Like they can quite easily compete. It's not
Of
like
course you can. Listen,
they're
if everyone's
terrible. So
fit, particularly at Molineux, that's still a tough game for anybody, mate. I mean, we went through all them home games, difficult ones. You'll win something in there. Rings it. Yep, game week 12. That's probably the one. But no, you beat Villa at home last year in that running. We said you beat Chelsea as well, battered Liverpool. So there's something there. How big of a miss is Neves though?
going to be a massive miss because he's been the fulcrum of everything that the midfield goes through for so long. So, but it's been coming for years, hasn't it? So I'm just happy that the midfield area is like not despondent without him. Like there's players in there that I fully trust that are quite good. We got an athletic midfield now as well, actually.
Yes, but he
It's
ran the
changed a
game for
lot.
you, didn't he? He could do. He
Yeah,
could rock up anywhere, like he did at White Lane in game week 3 last year, and run the football match. I don't know who does that for you now. That gives you control, if you will. He was always available, never shy from the ball, right? And he knew short, direct. He could do it all, really. He's a great all-round midfield player. I don't know who picks up that baton. I guess it's Lamina.
yeah.
He's the one that would give you control should you wrestle it from teams. But I don't see many games where I think, oh yeah, Wolves will dominate in terms of ball possession. And Neves going surely only going to add to that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a lot less possession there at home. I'd have thought.
What are
We
your
have to see
hopes
what
for?
Gomez has got. So
Yeah, he's one to keep an eye on for sure. What are your hopes for this season?
at the minute, just to be in the Premier League again next season, and maybe if we're lucky, sign Alex Scott. If we're lucky.
just sign someone. Is that what this is? Is this genuinely a relegation battle?
It is at the minute because nothing's changed from when we was fighting relegation last season. We've lost our best player.
But
So
I know there's a few guys Wolves guys listen to this will go, like you said, James, like 10th, 11th roughly under Lopetegui. Why should it dip off so much? What are we actually taking out of that team? Neves? Because some of the players you've gone, like I think selling Collins seems a strange one to me. But let's be honest, he wasn't
yeah,
playing anyway. Moutinho wasn't playing anymore. Neves is the one. Adama Traore wasn't playing. Neves is the one who you've taken out. It's like, right, that changes the team. Otherwise, it's fairly similar to a team that, as we said, beat Chelsea, Tottenham, and Villa at home in the running.
I think we can just keep relying on like the defense like that though. That's just gonna catch, like you said, it's gonna catch you on the bite you on the bum eventually.
Where do you think you'll finish?
Uh, if the manager stays, I'll probably finish like 14th or something.
How
Probably
many of the
scrape around
correspondents do you think predicted you to go down?
half of
13. And another 4 went for 17th. So 17 of the other 19, excluding yourself, think you'll finish bottom 4. That is a large percentage. And I think a lot of that comes down to the mood around the club.
Yeah, the mood
Like,
around the club's terrible.
like the positivity is on the floor, and then fixtures are rough that it feels like you could start and be in trouble potentially again. And then once you're in that place, it's like looking at it again. It's just why I use the Everton analogy. Like if Calvert-Lewin's not fit, who's going to score the goals from? And it feels like the same problem for you. I kind of hope Fabio Silva changes that perspective and
And
can
me,
be
big
that
time.
person.
But he don't want to be here either, apparently. So
Does he want to go?
yeah, his agent sort of said it himself. Like, it's, when we throwed him in, like when Jimenez was injured, he was protected very well, which he wasn't. He's thrown to like, and everyone battering him, despite him being a kid, and he sort of stuck with him, I think, sadly. But I think I think their manager needs to just talk to him and say, "This is your chance now to prove all them people wrong." Jimenez's number 9 shirt there, take it.
Do you know what would be great for him? Would be if the manager can get hold of him, told him now and went, "You're going to play. You're going to play at Old Trafford." Tell him now.
The number 9's available now. Take it. This is what we've spent all that money for. You've developed now, so because all the clubs that want him in Europe are like Sevilla, Bayer Leverkusen,
decent clubs,
Roma.
Right?
He's not a mug.
Yeah, I think he needs support. Often when he did play before, he felt like he got so isolated in some games and stuff. So I think he needs support around him. But yeah, I think he'll do better in front of goal if he gets consistency minutes. He's not going to out if he plays at Old Trafford and he doesn't score where there's no expectation on him. And then next week he's bright and he's not playing. Like, that's what I'm saying. I think he needs that. Right, you're going to be the guy. I'm going to give you 5-6 games. Go prove yourself. He's got to get at least that sort of run, I think. Otherwise, the kid's got no chance.
And he's got to play with Cunha. They have to have that combination for most of the season if they're going to score more goals.
Yeah, as I said, I quite like him, but I think not as a 9.
No, he's definitely not a number 9. Never number 9 ever. You could tell like, the first time you was watching him play, I was like, he's not a striker.
Your excellent manager keeps playing him there on occasion, though, mate. How do you think, before I let you go, Bradley, how do you think Jimenez will get on?
He looks like he's just going to do the same as he did at Wolves, doesn't he? Just sit on the bench.
So where's he gone?
I don't know. Maybe he thought Mitrovic was going for certain.
Well, Mitrovic might still go, by the way.
They'll still play Carson this year, so wouldn't they? I would have thought.
I don't know.
Or they'll find somebody new.
It'd be interesting to see what Dara says about it tomorrow. But when obviously Fulham came back up last year, we were quick to stress to people and say, look, forget what you knew about Mitrovic before. This team now plays to his strengths. And maybe they'll get that back out of Jimenez.
I'd be surprised.
It'd be great if he did. You'd probably be kind of conflicting if he went there and did really well. But it would be great to see him do well.
I don't see him do terrible, but I don't see him to do great.
No, I get that. It's always conflicting when a player like that leaves the football club. But it'd be nice to see him be happy about what he does with his football. He got a bit messy with him going off to Mexico, and is Mexico treating him or Wolves treating him? Mexico. Yeah, that's what I mean. There was even rumours last year that he might retire, right? Was getting speculated on.
He's obviously took a whack on his wages though to go there because he was on like $100,000 a week at Wolves. He's not getting paid that Fulham.
Yeah, would he been on that much with you?
Yeah, I think so.
Who's your highest earner? Do you know?
No.
Yeah.
Good question. Probably might be. To be fair, might be Cunha.
What do you think he's on?
Probably like $70,000 a week.
Jesus.
80,000.
I mean, that's the thing. You've put down a 44 million to get him. I don't know. You felt like the club were forced a bit. You can say no and look at something else. And then 70,000 a week on top of that in wages as well. Cost you 50 million already, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's interesting. There's conflictions on FFP. I agree with you. I think the club is up for sale, but we won't hear that vocally. Or it needs large investment, I think. But I think we might be in a position of difficulty for you over these next few years. And I think the big concern would be, I'm not sure the manager makes it through the season because I'm not sure that he's going to want to go through this. And then because you're restricted, exactly what you said, who's going to say they offer it to Potter? Is he going to look at that and go, bit of a poison chalice this at the moment?
Yeah.
He might look like that. So you probably need to go down the route of something more up and coming, who gives someone a chance, but then hasn't got the experience of perhaps doing a Premier League relegation fight, which everyone needs the chance to do it before we know if they'll be any good. I think as it stands, Bradley, I'm afraid to say, I think you could go this year. And I think the correspondents are essentially saying the same. that's a big pull of the guys are saying, yeah, I think unfortunately you'll go. Transfer window over this next month could change it, mate, but I'd have more confidence in the other teams around you doing the business than you.
Yeah, that's the problem. They only need like 4 decent players, probably. I think I'll be okay with that now.
Good luck, mate. I'll maybe see you in Wolverhampton for game week 12, mate. Stay off the bleach. It's a long season. Good lad. Anything you want to plug before you go, Bradley?
No, so.
Are you going to the Luton game?
I'm not at the moment, actually.
I feel that game's on Wednesday night. I take it you wouldn't struggle for a ticket.
No, I don't. Why are we playing as a team that we're gonna lose to anyway? We're gonna lose to Luton like 3 times this season.
Well, I mean, it didn't help you as well that your pre-season tour got stitched up as well, right?
Yeah.
There was a problem which I don't. It wasn't any fault of your own. It was the contractors who was running the stadiums and stuff.
Roma pulled out the week before, apparently.
Yeah, we were meant to play Roma as well, and it pulled out the game with us as well. Bradley,
all them Wang shirts not sold, causing the FFP issues now. That's what it is.
Yeah, you'll have to keep him, mate, for that alone. Bradley, I wish you the very, very best of luck. Good luck for the season, mate. I think we've got you on with Lee again prior to game week 8, haven't we? You might have there's a good little run of sort of 6 there. It's not too bad for you. Hopefully things will look a little better for you by then. Very best of luck, mate. Who's next on Correspondent Week? It is your game week 1 opponents. Manchester United with Gary Robinson. He's next up on Correspondent Week. Just sees me to say thanks again so much to Bradley. Cue music, please, man child.